people go, oh, sell me this pen. And we're like, this is a limited edition pen. No, it's not. It's a biro. I always say internally, people have to have almost a switch flick to go from an interested party to a potential buyer. That can't be right. Hang on, is it? We can't be there. Is that right? Well, that's actually going to be a problem. Shit, we need to change. 80k a month to 250 grand a month. He'll be doing 700, and this isn't like to say that we're great. He's now just running with. He'll be doing 750 grand a month soon.
On this week's episode of the Engaging Marketeer, I'm going to speak to David Angel, the sales angel. David helps people with their sales process, which is really great for us because people come to Engage Web wanting more business, but they don't necessarily have the sales conversion skills to make that work. Whereas somebody like David can improve their sales conversions so that then they're in a position to get more leads and inquiries from somebody like Engage Web. So let's speak to David about how he does that and find out just how passionate he is about sales. So David, you help people with their sales processes.
Yes.
What is the biggest mistake businesses tend to make when it comes to making a sale or attempting to make a sale?
A lot of people forget, and thanks for having me on, by the way. A lot of people forget that every time we open our mouth, it has an impact. It either increases or reduces resistance, increases or reduces flow. And a lot of people get so caught up on how much time spent building a business, how much blood, sweat and tears they put into it. They don't actually focus on the person at the other end and actually helping them fix or even identify what the problem, solution, need or want actually is. And I think for the vast majority of people, they actually come across desperate in business without even realizing they do. They're trying to push a product, push an idea, push a plan. My idea is the best idea. And I even really took the time to understand what someone really wants and needs to a level where that person wants to move forward. I say to a lot of people, selling someone on the idea of making a change is the biggest first step before you try and sell them on you. So it's almost on a tiered system. Most people will be like, Darren, work with me. I'm the best guy. Buy from me or don't buy from anyone. My big thing is help them make a decision on even if making a change is a good fit. And if once they've made that decision that they are no longer going to stay where they are, then it comes down to who do they choose? And then you want to try and lean that into you. But what most people do is just, this is the best thing. Come work with me. We're the best. We're the greatest. But the 50th best company doesn't ever say they're the 50th best company. So no one believes any of it. So I think that's one of the biggest hurdles. But I think a lot of people never actually take the time to effectively understand how other people want to buy. We know what we like, but we don't actually understand how we buy, let alone how someone else buys. We like to think that I made this decision and I made that decision. But throughout your life, we were sold ideas and beliefs and perspectives that we just own as our own. We don't know where they came from, but we automatically go, oh no, I sold myself on that car, that house, that idea. Well, actually, did you? Or did someone just do such a good job of marketing it to you, you didn't even realize you were being sold to? And I think that happens more than people realize, meaning they don't actually know. And when you do that in business, you just get no results.
You mentioned desperate for the sale there. I presume if somebody has that whiff of desperation about them when they're trying to make a sale, that they need to close it, they need that business, it's going to be really off-putting for the person they're trying to sell to.
Well, 100%. Well, think of it like this. We always say it's a bit like having commission breath. If you can smell commission breath on someone's thing, all they're thinking about is the me, the I, the we, do this, do that, I need it, I need it, I need it. And it's a bit like dating, right? If you're going to go out there and make out that you've got to date me, you've got to date me, you've got to date me, you've got to... No one's going to be like, wow, this guy's great. The less available you are, the less needy you are, the less you want it, the more impartial that you are, the better. My big focus is always the same with this stuff. It doesn't matter whether your business is brand new or you're the biggest in the country, the biggest in the world. The goal should always be the same. How can I help this person move from where they are now to that next stage, that next step, that next area? And when you help people do that enough, you will attract far more business. It shouldn't just be buy from me, buy from me, buy from me. I'm great, my company's great, because no one cares. No one cares how much money, time and effort you've spent in your business. They care about what's the likelihood that you're going to deliver on the thing that you say in the time that you said it. What's the likelihood I'm going to get the result? What's the likelihood it's going to be a good price? What's the likelihood I'm not going to get laughed at by my mates from buying from you? And all of those count into far more than anything else. And people don't even think about a lot of this stuff. They really don't.
You mentioned dating there. That's quite an interesting analogy, because that's something I've come to realize recently, that there's a lot of similarities between sales and dating.
Massively.
Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
The way that we want to imagine, it should just be in life, but I should just turn up and go, I'm a good guy, I've worked really hard, I'm going to be respectable, and that's actually going to be enough. But realistically, it's not. Me just being a nice guy isn't enough. Me being hardworking is enough. A lot of them are just prerequisites, they're just standards. And actually, everyone should be that way. And I think for a lot of time out there now, we are in a time now of such entitlement, where people, oh, I deserve this, and because of my struggle, and because of this, and because I've got a wonky ankle, or whatever the reason is, I should automatically get loved. But it's just not the way it is. We've got to earn that right. You've got to earn that decision. You've got to be something of value. I think for guys especially, I can't comment for women, but for guys especially, we grow up as teenagers where you will lose probably most girlfriends to an older guy, a richer guy, more successful, more sporty at some point in your life, because they hold a value at that time for someone else. And it's not till we get in our 20s, our 30s, where we start having more value in our life, that people give you a little bit more time, a little bit more respect. And I think it's such a big part in business, but the difference with business is you can shorten that time down. You can become more valuable in business far quicker. And it is always the same. It's by putting the spotlight on the other person. Like, it's not about you buying my product or my service. It is very much about, where are you now? Where are you going to get to? You can probably get there on your own. It might just take longer. I might be able to get you there quicker, faster, with less stress, less headaches. That's really the difference, right? It's like you saying you want to walk from London to Birmingham. You can get there on your own, but if I've got a car, you might be prepared to pay the money to save the time of getting there, to save your feet, to save the hassle. And that's what a lot of businesses and services are actually doing. They're cutting down a learning time. And I think for a lot of time in businesses, my camera's on auto zoom, I think a lot of time in dating and a lot of time in relationships, we don't even take the time to realize what the other person really wants or how they're coming across, to work out what we need to improve. A lot of people just turn up and say, I'm single and I want to be married. Where's my partner? And it's the same with business. I said with business, where's my sales? Where's the buyers? And it's that entitled mentality, I think, that screws everyone over.
It's like a video clip I've seen of, is it Jordan Belfont, the Wolf of Wall Street?
Joan Belfort, yes.
Belfort, that's it, Joe Belfort, where somebody asked him, sell me this pen. And it's a standard sales question that you ask somebody, sell me this pen. And most people just launch into, this is the greatest pen in the world, this is a fantastic pen.
The first thing they do is lie.
Yes. Sales.
And no one seems to ever bring this up. People go, oh, sell me this pen. And we're like, this is a limited edition pen. No, it's not. It's a biro. Oh, it's limited. It's got golden ink. And most people never pick this up. The first thing that 90% of people in those videos do is automatically lie. Because the desperation of, I've been told I have to sell this. They don't just say the simple question, do you need a pen?
Yeah.
What's got you looking? And what a lot of people do, and this is where I think it's really interesting, when you say about sales, saying sales is like saying sports. You've got inbound, outbound, B2B, B2C, high ticket, low ticket. So if someone says, sell me this pen, I need context of what I'm selling. Are we in a shop? Have you walked in? Are we doing it on a street? Am I walking up to you randomly? All of those are going to make a massive difference to the way the conversation would start. And so what people have done is they're put in a panic state because they're just like, oh, desperation. But if the context was, this pen is a £5,000 pen, it's one of 50, it was held by Winston Churchill, and this person's just walked into your high-end gallery, sell me the pen, that would be a different context than here's a packet of 10 biros for £1, sell them off at a student campus. That'd be very different, right? The need would be different. The want would be different. The demand would be different. And people never talk about that stuff. They go very blunt object, this is pen, sell it. And you go, well, you're setting everyone up to failure anyway.
Yeah, and his point was that nobody asked the questions. Nobody asks the
No one
questions
asks
of the people. And
questions.
it's the same with dating, isn't it? You need to ask the question of what the other person wants and listen to the answers, not just start your spiel, which I find is where a lot of salespeople go wrong. They just launch into something and they don't ask you what it is you actually need or what your problem is in the first place.
Yeah, or what they do is they just ask very basic questions. They ask questions a bit like a survey: height, age, requirements, need, money. But actually, every question is a bit like it's an identifier of what their location is, what they need, what they want. And actually, what you should do with every question is you should be going 3 levels deeper. If there's any question, someone's like, "Oh, do you need a pen?" And they're like, "Yeah, okay, great. First, so we need a pen. Now I'll start selling it." Well, no. Well, what's what you looking for a pen? Have you just broke the pen? Are you looking for a replacement pen? Is it what type of pen do you normally buy? What is it you're trying to do with the pen? What's it going to be used for? Is it for a gift? Do you know what I mean? What is it people are actually looking for? Because if someone says to me now, "I want a pen, but I want to have it for the rest of time, and I want it to be an asset, and it's going to be something I'm going to probably give to my son when he's 20, and I'm buying it because our business has just turned over £10 million." Well, actually, buying a collector's edition Mont Blanc for £2,000 might actually be a really good idea. Because if that's going to be worth £4,000 in 20 years' time, what a great present. And I'm only going to use it occasionally. But if it's a biro that I'm going to give to a 4-year-old that's going to chew the end of it, stab it into the table, probably not going to want that Mont Blanc, right? And going down the rabbit hole is going to identify what those needs are. And that's where, again, you add resistance and reduce flow in the sales process without even realizing you're doing it, because you're asking the wrong questions or you're hearing the wrong answers. You're hearing what they say, you're not listening to what people actually mean. And that's the big problem, I think, in sales. We sort of hear what we want to hear.
Yes.
Again, dating.
Yes, very much so. How do you help people when they're doing a sale, or say they're selling from a stage, or they're doing a sales presentation, or they're at an event, and there's that nagging moment at the mind that this is the bit where I'm going to ask for the sale, or this is the bit where I say the price? How do you help people get over that block?
Going back to what we said earlier about sales, saying sales is like saying sports. Selling one-to-one, one-to-many, on the phone, face-to-face, from stage, are all completely different. Selling on stage is not my specialty. I have sold from stage. I can sell from stage, but it's not my sweet spot. So I won't comment on that side. I think the biggest problem is if you're selling over the phone or face-to-face, say it's something that's, say, 10 grand. The problem is when people get to the price, they haven't actually established enough want and need, so they feel uncomfortable for the price. They haven't feel like they've actually added enough value. But if we're on the flip side now, let's say that it's a £10,000 product. I haven't really gauged if you want it, you're sort of making the right noises, and I'm getting to the price. I'm going to be nervous. But if we just establish that I'm going to sell you this box, and this box is £10,000, and that box inside of it is a money printing machine that's going to print £100,000 every single month, and you knew that to be true, I'd be quite comfortable to tell you it's £10,000 because we know it's got £100,000 worth of printed money every month, and you knew that to be true. Now, if that same box was cloudy and you thought it might have money and it might not, the likelihood you're going to want to spend £10,000 would be quite slim. So I'd be more nervous about that. And I think the problem is people in their whole sales process get it wrong. They get on a call, they talk about, they find the common ground. Oh, you've got a purple mic, I've got a purple mic, let's be friends. No one cares. They then ask a couple of basic default questions because all they want to do is get into the pitch. They get to the end of the pitch and they say, you said this, my stuff does that, buy from me. Now, when you get to the stage of asking for the money, they're not comfortable. They're not sold. They're not ready. So, of course, you're going to feel uncomfortable. You should be at the stage now where the person is at the stage of going, how much is this thing? Because it sounds great, but from what you're telling me, this sounds like it's probably going to be really expensive. I don't know if I've got the budget. Then someone's at that stage, you know they've got an interest, they're leaning into us. And when that happens, you're actually really interested to get to the conversation. But again, on the flip side, if someone's like, well, how much is it? Before it even got to the money, I can ask more questions. I always say, if someone asks me a question, I'll normally ask a question before I answer the question. Because if you said to me, well, how much is it? I said, well, listen, money to one side, because if you don't like it, it's pointless buying it. Do you think that this is going to get you from A to B like you said you wanted to? Yeah. Okay, but what about it makes you think this is better than what you would have done elsewhere? Oh, because you said X, Y. Oh, okay. And why is that important? Suddenly we've gone down 3 levels deeper, 3 or 4 points before we got to the price. And then we're like, so you feel this is going to get you from 100 grand a month to 500 grand a month. You think it's going to help you scale out your team. You think it's going to do this. So would you say that exchanging that out for £9,400 is a good exchange of money? I've dropped the price by asking a question on whether they relate to it or not. I haven't automatically dropped in and tried to ask you your card details. I've gauged how you feel. So it's sort of trickled into the close. And it's far easier to do that because I've already just set this up to find out you wanted it to start with. And then it's a case of, do you see the cost rate that's level to the value? Not, are they remotely even interested into doing it?
So essentially, you're getting a yes from them that it's what they want before they even know what the cost is, and the value.
To a degree, you're getting a yes, but you're actually finding out why they like it as much as the fact they like it. I like loads of things. I like a McLaren. Does it mean I'm going to buy a McLaren? No. There's plenty of things in this world I like. Doesn't mean I'm in a place. But if I've just had a conversation about a McLaren and you found out that I actually am in the mood to buy a new car and I'm looking to get rid of my i8 and actually I've just had a big bonus from my business and all this. Oh, okay. So actually, this could be the ideal time to buy a McLaren. Well, yeah, potentially. Then there's a difference between, yes, I like a McLaren and actually I'm open to buying a McLaren. I would say internally, people have to have almost a switch flick to go from an interested party to a potential buyer. And you should feel that in the sales process where the conversation transitions a bit, where they're leaning in a little bit more. They're asking a bit more ownership-based questions. They're asking things a bit more about how this might work or how that might work. And that's because in their mind, they're trying to make sense of how this is going to work. I had a guy the other day say about objections. You could be really interested and you could ask me a question. And some salespeople or business owners will automatically lean into the fact of, oh, it's an objection. But it wasn't. If it's a high ticket purchase, for example, they're going to have questions. Oh, how do teams react to this? Oh, I think one of my staff wouldn't like that. That doesn't mean it's not a deal, right? It's actually just letting me know, oh, here's a potential area we've got to cover. Oh, who do you think might not like it? Why do you think might not like it? Have you tried this before? What did they do? How did they react? So apart from that, is there anything else that's a problem? No, that's it. Okay, great. So if we can fix this, do you think this would be a plan you'd want to get moving with today? Well, potentially. Okay, now you're leaning in onto the objection, and then we're going down the rabbit hole because we've pre-qualified that everything else was good apart from that. And the problem is most people don't do that. They hear that hurdle, the walls go up, everyone gets defensive, and it becomes a sticking point where they try and hammer a point rather than clarifying all the other parts before we even get into it. That's why objections are actually really helpful, because it gives you an identifier of what they're thinking and where they are. And most people don't want to hear it. They just want everyone to go, sure, I'll buy, which doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't happen. Doesn't happen.
No. So, and especially with a lot of this stuff, sorry to interrupt, but if someone's making a big purchase, let's say someone's buying something for £10,000, and you go, okay, well, how many things have they bought in their life that were more than £10,000? If it's a B2C, it might be the house, the car, a motorbike, a couple of other little things maybe. We do a lot for solar companies, and some of those people, it might be the third biggest purchase of their life. It would be completely irrational to think that they wouldn't have questions. It would be crazy to think that they just randomly go, oh, this is a massive purchase in my life. Yeah, I'm good. I'm ready to go. It might happen. Great if it happens, but it's not likely it's going to happen. And it's also not an indicator that they're not going to want to do it. They're just uncertain because it's bigger and it's uncommon to what they're used to, so they're looking for clarification.
So you're saying objections basically are a good thing because it gives you the opportunity to delve deeper and almost be a differentiator between competitors as well.
100%. And also it tells you where they are. But then, so the early stage, what happens in the sales process? We've gone through your conversation, get to the end, give them a price, then they get objections. That's objection handling. We want to get to the stage of objection prevention, but earlier in the conversation, you get confident enough to have the conversations where you bring out the people's thoughts and feelings. Because what happens is, let's say that me and you get on a call and you're pitching about a product or a service. And immediately in my head, I'm like, this is going to be super expensive. I don't know if I want to spend it. And every time you're talking, I'm just like, super expensive. It's going to be expensive. And we talk for 45 minutes. Logically, you make sense. And now at the end, I bring out my objection. It's quite a strong objection now, because I've been thinking about it for 45 minutes. And I've linked everything you've said to being expensive. But if in the early part of the conversation, I say, hey, listen, Darren, between me and you, we are not the cheapest out there, but I'd only want you to do this with us if you actually see it's going to make you more money than it costs, because I want this to be an asset for you, not a liability. And if I can prove it to be an asset where the exchange for money from you is going to give you more back, would you be open to that? Well, yeah, depends how much it is. Well, listen, varies in price, could be 1,000, could be 10,000, but we'll find a plan that, because we're bringing all this out in the early parts of the conversation, the rest of the conversation, you're back engaged with me far more. But if I wait right till the end, I then try and get you to change your perspective, change your belief, change your knowledge, then ask for the order, it feels like a one-night stand. And people feel pressured. But actually, if you could bring that in earlier in the conversation, and you keep coming back to it and talking about it, when it gets to the end, if they feel and they've had a time and an opportunity to have their perspective shift. And for a sale to happen, normally a perspective, belief, or knowledge has to shift. Because if they already had the right perspective, belief, and knowledge, they'd have already brought your thing. The reason that we're on a call with them is because they don't know enough. They don't believe enough. They don't have a perspective enough to make the purchase. We're a guide as much as anything else.
I've heard that talked about before, about essentially bringing objections up, but handling them in advance. And it's something we certainly try to do as well. But there will be people that are doing sales that think, oh, no, I don't want to bring up that objection because I don't want to put ideas in their head. How difficult is it for you to coach people to get around that attitude when they're trying to make a sale?
The first thing I would talk about is what language are people using. The language that you would have used there as an example of that person is, I don't want to do this, I don't feel this. My first thing is, it's not about what you want, it's what they need. And if your job is to help this person, like genuinely to help that person, it shouldn't be about how it puts you in your feelings. Your sole focus should be, if I do it this way, will it be better for them? And if I can show you that it would be better for them, would you do it? Well, I don't think, again, it's not about the eye. It's not about, this isn't a film. We're not going to the cinema to entertain you, to make you happy. We're here as professionals to help take people with problems and see if we can help them make a solution. And we do that in a way which suits them, not us. In the same way that a nurse, I imagine, doesn't walk around and say, I don't fancy being nice to patients today. I don't fancy doing this today. They do things in a way that's best for the patient, even if the patient's not aware that that's the best thing for them, because they know the best way to take that conversation. And that's one of the biggest things I hear with people. And it's often one of the biggest turning points, is when people go from, oh, what I want to do and what's going to be best for my prospects. Because you've suddenly realised there's a lot of people out there that are not as customer focused as they'd like to make out. Oh, well, I feel uncomfortable asking questions. Okay, but what about if they need you to ask those questions? What about you put your ego to one side, your confidence to one side, and do the thing that the person needs so that they get the solution, which is what you said you set this business up for. And that's where it should be there. It should make that big difference. And if I got a camera that didn't auto zoom, it'd be great.
You know, we hear that a lot as well with our clients when we're talking about websites and building websites for people. They'll say things like, I want my website to be blue. I want it to have this on it. I want these pages on it. And most businesses need to be educated that the website isn't for them. It's not for you. It's not for you, the client. It is for your clients. It is for what they need so that you can sell to them. So stop talking about what you want and let's look at what your clients want, because that is the most important thing. Seems to be a similar process between the two there.
Do you know one of the big things I find is really interesting? A lot of business owners, I'd say to them, how often do you even go on your website? Why are you on your website? You shouldn't be on your web. You're the last person that should really be going on your website. Your customers are going on your web. Your prospects, your leads are going to your. You shouldn't be on there. That should be so good that you never have to look at it. So what you care about, imagine decorating my front room, but never going in it. Would I care as much at how it looked? No, because I would never be going there. What we should care about is the people that are going to go there the most, for the highest likelihood of buying. What do they want to see? What decorations do they want? What layout do they want? What's going to help them make a good decision? What's going to help them be more relaxed? Again, it's not about us. Why are we caring about what, like for me, I've got landing pages. The last time I really look at it is when I proofread it. And I look at it and go, that looks great. Brilliant. Or can we change this? Or can we change that? Once that's live, I've got websites now that have been live for probably 2 years. I haven't been on there once. Because it works. I don't need to be on the website. I need to be on the phone calls.
It's similar to the property industry, actually. There are some people who invest in property, but they get emotionally invested in it. That I don't want to buy that property because it's ugly. I don't want to decorate it that way because I don't like that. Whereas if you take a dispassionate approach to it and saying, I don't care what that house looks like, I just want to know what the numbers are.
Look at the numbers.
Don't even visit the property because it's irrelevant. It's literally an asset that raises you money, and that's what it's about. So it's a similar thing to your website, to your sales process, to your property. It's about the results, not about what it feels like to you, what it looks like to you.
With money. Oh, I don't like purple. I don't want £20 notes. I'm not taking £20 notes. I don't like purple. That would be the most stupid thing to do. But that's what people do in their business. Or, oh, I don't want this and I don't want that. You go, but it's not about you. Are you doing this as a showpiece? Is it a show pony that you're showing off to your friends? Or is this a business that you're making to make money? Because if you're looking to make money, you want it to be as effective as possible. You want the most seamless client journey. You want the lowest level of resistance, the most amount of flow, the most amount of drawing from prospects. You want people to be enticed and engaged and keeping their attention. That's what we want. Not, oh my God, this is... Everyone look at my website. Hasn't Dave? Oh, look, it's beautiful. No one cares. You know what happens when we go on a good website? Very rarely do we even go. You might, because you're in the industry. Most people don't go, oh, that was a nice website to visit. We just did the thing that they wanted to do. We spent less time on it. We did the thing that it was there for, and we got off. That's a sign of a good website.
Yeah.
In the same way for me, a great sales pitch isn't one where someone goes, I'll tell you what, you've blown my... It's different for us because we do sales training. So people want to test us. But typically, if you were great in sales in your job, they shouldn't, I tell you, that guy sold me so well. They should just be like, oh my God, I'm so excited to get that website done. That's what they should do.
Yeah.
Because it should be so good that they don't even recognize how good it was, because it exceeded their expectations and was so seamless they weren't even thinking.
It reminds me of a panel I was on a couple of years ago in Manchester. There were a few web design and digital marketing agencies on the panel, and there were loads of business owners and marketing people in the room. And somebody commented on Amazon and saying that Amazon wasn't a particularly well-designed website. It wasn't a particularly pretty website. And everybody on the panel, including myself, said, well, what are you on about? It's not a well-designed website. It is the most efficient tool imaginable for taking money off people, which is what it is for. Would you print it out and stick it in a frame and put it on your wall? Probably not. But its purpose is taking money off you. That is what it is the best at. It is the best designed website you're ever going to see because it earns billions of bloody dollars. In the same way,
I wouldn't want to have a bucket of petrol on my wall. But you know what? Bloody handy to put in a car.
Yeah.
Because its tool, its use is best in the right place. Amazon's website is designed to keep us, draw us in, get us out, get us to spend as much, and we will use it. And the very people that would be like, oh, I don't like the website, probably buy loads from there. And they're buying it all the time. The amount of people in life that say, I hate this and I hate that, and they still do the very thing. I hate the trains, still use them. Moan about this, still do it. Moan about that. No. People don't have to like it. They'll still do it. Because the need and the want is so great. The want and the need is greater than the pain of not having it. People moan about paying like car tax all the time, like high insurance. You still got a car, haven't you? You didn't choose to go and do it on horse. You couldn't roller skate everywhere. But no one's making you have a car. Do they make it hard? Yes, because it makes life a hell of a lot easier. But the pain of paying for your car insurance and tax is greater. It is less, than the pain of not having a car and having to roller skate everywhere. And that's the same as for most businesses. And what we need to do is to be that need, but actually not using us is more painful than using us. No one likes paying me. I say this all the time. No one, we get to the end and we're like, I tell them the money and I tell them the cost. And I just tell them, no one likes paying this part. No one has ever said, I cannot wait to pay Dave 10 grand, 12 grand, 30 grand. Do you know what they do? They say thank you 12 weeks later when their business has gone from 30 grand a month to 200 grand a month. That's when I get my thanks. So if you're planning to get to the end of this conversation, hear the money, and go, oh my God, it's so cheap, it's not going to happen. you're probably going to go, I don't know if I want to spend that type of money. But in 12 weeks' time, you're going to go, oh my God. And every year after, you're going to, I'm so glad that we've got that because we're still using it now. That's what's the difference. So we're not trying to sell it based on price. I actually tell people you won't want to spend the money with me, but you'll be telling people for years that you're glad that you did. And that's actually what really matters here.
So from the perspective of business owners listening to this, who have a sales process at the moment, maybe it's cold calling, maybe it's inbound leads and they're doing presentations online or in person, what kind of things can you look at from their process that will help them go from 30 grand to 200 grand a month?
I'll give you a prime example. So we work in 19 industries. Typically, we work with businesses that have a 1-2 call close, so appointment setting, or cold calling into a pitch close, maybe a follow-up. Anywhere from sort of 2.5 grand to 50 grand deals. I mean, it varies. But if we look at the solar companies, prime example, they're electricians that pivoted into solar but never learned how to sell expensive stuff. And electricians were used to getting inbound leads.
Yep.
Go around, quote for a 300 quid job, 800 pound job, get it because it was a need, the fuse had blown, we're refurbing the house, and just got it done. Where solar is more of a want. You've got to get people into a perspective, and it's a 10 grand product. So we would get these guys and they would be converting 2 or 3 appointments in 10, maybe. We'll get them to 70%. And that's because we very rarely talk about the product until they want it. We're talking about what solar's the vehicle. And a lot of people don't want to buy solar, which is the most stupid thing. Everyone talks about solar, but no one cares about it. You get a handful. Most don't care about solar. They care about not renting electricity anymore. They care about having a power station in their house. They care about the government, the councils, companies screwing them over. They get scared about their retirement and how much they're going to pay in a bill. So I'll give you a prime example of this. We had a call to a client today, a new client. When I said to his sales guy, I said, how do you approach the bill? And he'll say, I'll just ask them, what's their bill? So they'll tell me it's £170 a month. I'll tell them he's scared about it going up, and then we'll lead into the product. I went, that's terrible. I went, what's better is to get them to talk to you. And he said, well, how would you do that? I said, well, okay, well, you'd say to them, say, well, John, so you live in a 3-bedroom house. What's your current bill? And they'd be like 150 quid a month. Okay, cool. It's quite a bit. And what was that 5 years ago? And they'd be like, I don't know, £65. I go, well, what's that as a percentage? And I'd sit there in the pocket while we're working, and I'd get them to tell me what that percentage was. And then I'd be like, okay, cool. So in another 5 years, and we add that percentage on, do you think that's realistic? Yes. Okay, so that'll take your bill to how much? And then they would work the number out. And because they're working the number out, in their head, they're going, hang on, is that right? Are we going to be spending £300 a month on electricity? That can't be right. And so they're scratching it. And we'll spend a good couple of minutes letting them work out where they're going to be in 5 years. And then we go, okay, cool. So you're going to be at £320 a month in 5 years' time. Is that going to cause a problem? Well, it's not going to be nice. I'm not going to be happy with it. Okay, cool. So where's that going to be in another 5 years? When you're retired and when you're 65. Okay, is that the problem? And then suddenly people realize it's not the problem. They're not buying solar for today. They're buying solar to protect their 10 years and their retirement or whatever it's going to be. So trying to sell them on the fact of let's get rid of your electricity bill, that's not enough. We need people to be at the stage that they're getting to understand what they actually want and need. And that takes our clients from 2, 3 in every 10 to 6, 7 with a load of other stuff. But then you combine that with our appointment setting side. And a lot of those would have very brief, basic calls. Hey, are you a homeowner? Are you and your wife both going to be there? Will you make sure you're there? But from a storm, you'll both be at the meeting. That was basically a qualification. And they'd be getting 3 or 4 out of every 10 leads into an appointment. We would sit them down, go through a conversation, work out their bill, past, present, and future, what they're trying to do, where they've done before, how they feel about someone coming around the house, and they'd spend an extra 5 minutes than longer than normal having this conversation. That would get them to 60 to 70% lead into appointment. But now you get to the stage of going, okay, so now we've gone from a 3 in 10 and a 2 in 10, getting them 30 grand a month. Same amount of leads you get from a 7 out of 10 and then a 6 and 7 out of 10. Suddenly, they've like 10x their business. And all they've done is exactly the same amount of work, but they've just said different things in different orders, focused on the other person. So they actually have a clearly defined goal of what they're trying to do and why they're going to buy this thing and where they're trying to actually get to. And then we bolt in all the automations and all the other jazzy stuff that help nurture people as well. But again, it's just building out a better plan, building it out to help the person, building a person that actually they get drawn in, where they go, we need to really take action. Like staying the same is no longer an option. And once you get people to the stage where they say, staying where we are now is no longer an option, then it's a case of who do we work with? And at that point, you just have to outshine everyone else. That's the only point it really matters. That's the only point it matters. What make it is, what model it is, what series it is, how long it's going to last, what the warranty is. I see people all the time talk about, oh, we've got the longest warranty. Have we decided to buy it yet? I don't care. Till I'm at the till ready to pay, I don't care about the warranty. Who cares about a warranty until I've decided to buy it? That's the only point that matters. And everyone's like, we've got the longest warranty in the industry. No, no one cares about that yet.
My business partner was talking yesterday about her mother and her were in Currys, and the guy was just talking about the warranty on the vacuum cleaner before she decided which one she wanted. So very similar issue. I loved what you mentioned. I loved what you mentioned there about getting them to work it out. So if they come up with the sums themselves, it's not you telling them, it's them coming to the realization. So they're listening because they've done it.
Think about when you're having a conversation. Sorry, I interrupt sometimes. When you're having a conversation, when you're working something out, you go, is that right? No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. All those little things are happening 4 seconds. You then made a decision. I've done the numbers. This is a problem. This is an issue. Oh, I'm worried. I'm scared. Oh, okay. Is that right? Oh, God, it is. That's a real problem. If I'm like, this is what it is, you go, okay, that's right. But because you doubted yourself and you sort of pinged around, when you came to the affirmative answer of what it was and realized it was a problem, you've emotionally changed your state because you're like, that can't be right. Hang on, is it? We can't be there. Isn't that right? That's actually going to be a problem. Shit, we need to change. And look what happens in 5 seconds because you were doing the maths, because you were doubting yourself and you were questioning yourself and you want people to think about things. Because it aggravates the itch, it makes the problem bigger. And when the problem actually, it's not the fact that we're making the problem bigger, people downplay what the problem is. They make the problem smaller and you need to give them the real perspective of this is actually what the problem is. It's a blooming melon, it's not a tennis ball. Where people score, oh, it'll be all right, because they get used to it, oh, it'll be all right, until it's not. We need them to get the right perspective and then they make a decision whether they want to take action.
Do you know, I wish everyone worked with someone like you, because
I wish they did too. I'd be very rich.
You'd be very rich, because we get a lot of businesses come to us and say they need more sales, they need more business, and all we can really help them with is getting more people to their website, getting more leads booked in, getting more inquiries booked in, and getting them more appointments. We can't help them with the sales process. So if they're not converting now, getting more people to the website and more sales booked in isn't going to help them because they're just not going to convert then. They're just going to be busy. It
actually causes them more stress.
Yeah.
One of the biggest problems that people have is when they can't sell or when they're not selling, they have low confidence, they have low execution. And it's one of the biggest problems. If you don't believe, imagine if I'm a footballer and I only score 1 in every 20 goals. Do you think every time I take a shot, I take the best shot I can? Or after a while, am I just hoofing the ball? I'm going, oh, disappointed. But if I've got a 7 out of 10, every time I'm looking at ball, I'm imagining the ball going in. I'm visualizing it hitting the top of that bin. I'm imagining every single part of it because I have confidence and belief that my visualizations and execution will work. So a lot of the time, it's not just what to say and when, but it's the confidence and execution that people put into the thing they do. It's like part baking your cake. You can have the best recipe in the world, best ingredients, best tools. But if you put it in the oven for 6 minutes and it takes 20 minutes to cook it, you've still got a sloppy mess. And most business owners out there, they don't do the thing enough to actually give people the ability to do it. And that's why, like for you, if you end up with clients, send them over. Like, we love this. Like it's so, my guy that works for me is like our client success guy. He's like, do you know how nice this is? I literally talk to people, they tell me about their life, we give them some options, we help them, and they phone us a week later and go, oh my God, everything's changed, everything's great. Because a lot of people, they have a lot of the answers, but it's all higgledy-piggledy, and they don't know they're doing things backward. They don't know they're elevating resistance without even realizing it. They don't know they're just trying to luck into deals. And people deserve to have that business that they put on the napkin when they first created the plan. You know, when like they sat down and built it out and went, if we just sell this, and this, we'll be rich. And that plan, for some reason, they parked. And now they're just treading water. They're desperate. And they're like, the more desperate they become, the worse it gets, because they haven't bothered to invest into the skills. Like those that we said about the solar guys. Imagine if like you never went to college and you never did your degree and whatever it is to be an electrician. You just went out and started rewiring people's houses. You wouldn't get any jobs. But for some people, reason in business, people don't see sales as a skill, as a thing that should be taught. But it's communication. And people are just trying to luck into deals. And you shouldn't bet your mortgage payments and what your kids need for clothes on their back and food in their belly based on luck. Like, you should get the skills that are going to actually pay to actually move that business forward. And that means you can then make more, work less, and actually have the life that you want. And I think it's such an important part of it that people overlook. Because if you can make more money and work less, you have a better standard of life. Imagine that, you just doubled it. Imagine you could even earn the same as you do now, but work half as much. Or work just as much and earn twice as much. People are, it's a no-brainer, but that's what happens when you improve your conversions.
And it staggers me that people don't. I mean, we can improve conversions on an e-commerce website. We can improve conversions on what turns into inquiries, but we can't improve conversions for them actually doing a face-to-face or an over-the-phone sale.
People don't believe it's true. People don't believe that they have a power in their voice and a power in their words. People don't realize how much the way you talk, the way you treat people, the way you act matters. A lot of people feel they walk around, you see them walk through your high street. Look at the way people walk around. They're most of the time, if they're not looking at their phone, they're looking at the floor. Imagine how many people, when you see people that give you eye contact. If you want to see how much people don't interact in the right way, walk through your high, and this, I mean, goes to anyone listening to this, walk through your high street today and purposely, with that, when people aren't looking at you, give them eye contact and be like, good morning, I like your shoes. Good morning, nice hat. Good morning, hope you have a good day. Good morning, blah, blah, blah. And give them a compliment. And it catches people off guard. And do you know what? If you get in the habit of doing that consistently over time, you have so much more confidence in sales. Because I used to think that everyone in the world was miserable. I genuinely did. Until I realized I was getting a direct reflection on the way I acted. I'd be like, no one talks to anyone anymore. Everyone looks at the floor. You see people moan about this all the time. You go, but how often do you talk to other people? How often do you make an effort? How often do you go all in? How often do you try and make someone's day great? And people are like, oh, I tried, but when? And if you go down that rabbit hole, people haven't done it for months. And you go, well, are you surprised? You turn up half-baked, half-effort, looking at the floor, not used to eye contact, not used to taking an interest in people, and you wonder why no one wants to buy your stuff. Because you're turning up below par.
There's a comedian with the same name as the skateboarder called Tony Hawk. He wears a smoking jacket, and he does that. He films himself in the street.
The greeter guy, yes.
Yeah, saying hello to people. I love your shoes. I love what you've done with your hair. And people have the most bizarre reactions to him doing it.
They
just
think they're going to get robbed.
Yeah.
They think it's like, it's really interesting. I'd see people, you know, get the chuggers, like the charity people in the high street. And they're like, can I ask you a question? I say it all the time. You've just asked me a question. So your very thing was, can I ask you a question? And your thing was, you just asked me a question. Yeah. So you then haven't asked permission to ask me a question because you've already asked me a question. Just think about that. Your one opening line went against the very permission thing you asked. It doesn't matter. Who's training you? But actually, if I walk past and someone went, you look like Clark Kent with those you look like Superman in those glasses. Mate, your arms look massive. You go gym. Mate, I really like those shoes. Where are those from? Wow, that jacket really suits you. It really makes you look strong. Automatically, we would say thank you, and we'd probably reciprocate with a nice reply. And if you do that to enough people, you would open enough conversations. I have people all the time, and their instant thing is, do you care about children? Like the chuggers. No, like, I'm all right. Like, just, we know what you're here to do, but if you make it a good, entertaining conversation, if you draw me in, if you open it up in the right way, don't focus on trying to sell me on this charity. Focus on having as many great introductions as you can. Make as many friends as you can. Compliment as many people as you can in a day. Get eye contact with as many people. Make people smile where they weren't expecting to smile. You focus on that enough, the deals will fly. Absolutely fly. But people are too caught up on, oh, I get rejected. And what happens? Then they get all tight, and then their eye contact, and then their voice drops. And then they're like, hello, can I ask you a question? And they look like trying to rob someone. Of course no one wants to talk to you now. You don't even want to talk to you now.
Do you believe anyone can learn the skill to be good at selling?
I think if we change the word sales into can anyone become a better communicator? Yes. Because it's not just, we teach them on three pillars: mindset, skill set, habits. If your mindset sucks, I can give you all the skills in the world and all the habits in the world, you won't follow them. If I give you all the skills, but you have a bad mindset, bad habits, that's not going to help you. And if you've got the best habits, but you've got no skills and your mindset's enough, you'll be an activity-based person, not a productive person. Mm-hmm. And actually, instead of trying to be the best skilled, just getting a little bit better. Like, become a little bit more organized. The thing I just said about saying to hi to random people, talk to the person in the coffee shop in the queue behind you every time. Like, make an effort. Hold a door for 5 people today. Spark a conversation. Get in a habit of doing the very things that make you uncomfortable. Because confidence doesn't come in a bottle. Confidence comes from we've got belief in our ability of doing something. So if you're not used to doing something well, you will never have confidence in it until you've got proof that you can do it. So that means if you're waiting for to feel more confident, it will never happen, because you won't get the confidence until you've got the ability. You won't get the ability and the belief until you've done it enough times. So you've got to have blind faith and just do the thing. And if you do the thing consistently long enough and try not to repeat the same mistakes, life will massively improve. Massively.
That's some deep thought there. That's some deep thought.
There you go.
So other than solar, what are the big industries that you've worked with, or ones that you really want to be involved with?
We're in so many, like 19 different industries, from 9 countries, from working with companies in the States that sell into, obviously, school private education, or private there, on a state by state. So we work with companies like PMP out there, where they're selling sort of TA training and resale with all the education systems into schools, but are sort of 250 grand deals, to coaches, consultants, experts, recruitment, training, insurance, solar, flooring, heating, boilers. We've got inbound, we've got outbound, we've got education services. I mean, my big thing is always the same. If you sell over the phone, face to face, phone or face to face, ideally with the ability of appointment setting and then closing in a 2-tier, and it's above 2.5 grand, likelihood is we can help. Because we market about solar a lot on my social media, because if you talk about one thing, people get used to it and they go, well, if they do that for solar, that would work for us. Because if you listen to anyone who goes to my social media, the majority of my I post a lot of sales calls. The majority of sales calls you see the video of, I do not mention a product. Most of it's talking about beliefs, confidence, processes, getting people to have a perspective shift. And so that's very transferable into that. And for a lot of people out there now, like, I never planned to work in the solar industry. It was a guy on TikTok who came up to me and he's like, I saw you've been doing this with A, B, and C. Would it work for solar? And I went, let's have a call. We had a call and I went, yes. So this works so well. And he was the prime example. And he went from 30, with no sales team, 30k a month to 250 grand a month. He'll be doing 700. And this isn't like to say that we're great. He's now just running with, he'll be doing 750 grand a month soon. That's nuts. Think about that as a business model. 30% profit margins. You were doing 30 grand a month. So you're making 9 grand profit. And now you're doing 3 million quid a year. Just by building out the right systems, training, going all in, learning the skills, being coachable. That really makes a difference to someone's life, like to their life. You've gone from an all right job, working crazy long hours, but stressed, frustrated, and tired, to having the holidays, getting a bit more time off, building a team, building automation, building processes, spending more time with your missus, going away with your friends and family, taking that break to go off on that golf trip because you don't feel guilty about leaving the business. That's a real quality of life. Just by being a better communicator in your business and having a system and a process that actually move the business forward. It makes a massive difference.
And it goes back to what we said earlier as well, doesn't it? It's if you improve that conversion rate, then work on getting more leads, you're going to make a hell of a lot more money. If you get more leads first, you're just going to make yourself busy.
Well, I'd say to out there, are you into cars?
Yes.
Okay. So the easiest analogy I look at it is, let's say that you want to have a race car. You could go out and buy a brand new race car. And you go, okay, cool, that's going to cost me £500,000. You could go and take a 3 Series BMW and decide to upgrade it to being the version of an M3. And that's what we basically do. We come in and we look at the existing vehicle and we go, okay, what can we do with, there's no point in just putting more fuel in there, right? That doesn't just help. More fuel is not going to make any difference if it's going to be crap around the racetrack. So we've got to change the tyres and suspension, upgrade the engine, improve this, put a turbo on it, maybe a spoiler. But now you've got a great vehicle. If you've got a driver that's blind, you ain't going to get much out of the vehicle, are you? So what we do is we come in and we improve the vehicle. We look at it all. We do the adjustments to get the vehicle to perform better. And then we work with the driver to get the best out of the vehicle. Nice. And that's why you get some people in business that can have a terrible vehicle, but you can put them in a £200 car and they're getting the right lap time because they've got the driving skills. But most people are focused on, just get me a good car and I'll work it out. No, you won't. You'll crash into a wall because you don't have the skills to get the best out of an optimal vehicle. And that's why what we do now works so well, because we want to build a forever asset. We want to build a sales system that works, then give them the skills, the systems, the processes, so that then we leave, they have all the training manuals, so then they can replace themselves in the sales process, hire an appointment setter that works, hire a closer that works, and then get the time back in their business. That's the real dream.
And that's the key thing, isn't it? Replace themselves in the sales process. Because if you're doing it, then you are tied to it. You need to be out of it and have someone else do it and have it replicatable so others can do it. And that's why you scale.
Well, people don't know how to hire salespeople either. And they're like herding cats if you don't know what to do. So with a lot of what we do is we help with the training manual. We build training manuals up, and all the trainings we do, they keep them, the scripts, the processes and all the other jazz. So then the goal is, okay, so we've got a 2-stage process. We go, okay, the goal here is to help them get revenue inside the first 28 days. We look at the existing pipeline. We tell them how to re-engage those leads, close some deals, then use some of that money, get an advert out, which we'll create for you. We'll give you an advert and a training process to hire an appointment setter, then get yourself out of the appointment setting stage, get an appointment setter to then do that. They're then setting good appointments. You're then spending twice as much time in the closing side. That means you can close twice as much. And then you get to the stage that now this is working, then we might want to hire a closer in and then get myself out of that stage as well. Now you've got a business where it's aligned and working with all the manuals. Now you can move forward.
It sounds simple when you describe it like that.
It's simple after spending 8 years making loads of mistakes and working out what works.
Yeah.
And that's the difference now. It's why we don't do enterprise sales. We don't do really long term. Recruitment's the only example of that. But again, it depends on the company. I like the 2-stage process because it's quick to get results. Prime example, like we do with the Solars and other companies. If their business has been going for more than 6 months, I'll give you a prime example. Let's say you had a company now, they're in solar, and you've been sending them 30 leads a month. They've got 6 months worth of leads and they've not been closing it. We then go to them and go, okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to hit the phones for the next week. This is your whole, what you're going to say. When they say this, do that. When this happens, do that. When this happens, send them this video. And we give them a foolproof plan. We send them back out to re-engage all those old leads. All the proposals that went out, the meetings that didn't go ahead. And we literally get back out and get activity going. And the amount of times where they just go, oh my God, we had a solar company that was doing 10 grand a month. They closed 40 grand inside of 8 days with us. And he's like, that's 4 months worth of what we've been doing.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, because they were just missing, like playing football. They were 5% off target on 4 or 5 deals. They didn't massively screw it up. They were just off target. And that person still hadn't brought. So you're going back to them 3 months later, they still had the pain point, still had the problem, still had the hurdle, still liked you. You just hadn't bothered to call them back and say the right things in the right way. So it makes a world of difference.
I think there's probably a few people listening to this thinking, that sounds incredible. I'd love a piece of that. So to wrap up, if someone is thinking that, and I'm sure they are, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
You'll be blown away with this. We've got quite a good sales system to make life easier so that people don't have to get on a call straight away. So what we did was, and this is a really good thing to do in your business, we created a 10-minute explainer video about me, who we've helped, how we've helped them. And it's at tusta.co.uk, tusta.co.uk. It stands for the Ultimate Sales Training Academy. So you go to tusta.co.uk, add your details. It'll pop up with a 10-minute video, me just talking to you for 10 minutes. You watch that and you go, okay, that makes sense. Book a call. It'll also, we've got an AI guy called Frank, who's my little chat guy. It literally will have full conversations with you. It's not just prompts. So you can get to see how our sales system works. And my big thing's the same. If I said to you now, I will quit my job, close my business, and I'll come and be your salesperson, how much money would you make? If you think it would be a lot more than you would make now, that means that you know that we could teach you to do exactly the same. And that's really what you need to assess. And if you feel that to be true, watch the video, book a call, and let's help you.
Fantastic. I will put the link to that below the podcast. So anyone listening to this, you can click straight on that and go through and speak to David. Thank you very much for being a guest on the podcast.
Thanks, mate. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.